right, we wrapped up another, and my prediction was pretty spot on about Wood and Conlan. A very exciting night of boxing, and that fight didn't disappoint. It was what I expected it would be. I expected a war between these two guys, and I was pretty spot on with what I expected would happen. It was very close, actually, to Ted Cheeseman and Sam Eggington in the war that these guys had. They were going after it, and kudos to both guys for sticking in there and not trying to stink out the joint. I think the fans got their money's worth, whether you were watching on the zone or you were there live. I think the fans in Nottingham, I think the fans got their money's worth. If you didn't get a chance to see the fight, I do recommend going back and watching it, even if that means if you can find it online, hint, hint, wink, wink. But if you can get on the zone and check that fight out, I do highly recommend it. As I said, I don't think it's one of those that moves the needle, that's going to be remembered for a long time, just because I think both guys are not at that level yet. But I think when we go back in time, depending on the careers of both guys, especially with Leigh Wood rather, I think time will then tell, we'll be able to look back and say, hey, he had these kind of stylistically brilliant fights that told us a lot about him. And despite the fact, Michael Conlan, he got at this point literally knocked out of the ring, right? But take his hat off to him, because Michael Conlan was brilliant in the fight. I thought he gave a very good showing of himself, and he has nothing to be ashamed of. It happens, and he's going to war with somebody, and these kinds of things happen. This is what happened, if anybody remembers Ortiz and Berto, is a very similar type of outcome. And Ortiz and Maidana and so many others, where you just have two guys that want it so bad, and then eventually one of them comes out on top. And I've always said my favorite types of fights as far as boxing goes are the ones where going in, it looks like both guys are equal, they're on the same level, and then one of them goes in there and proves the other guy's not in this class. This wasn't that fight, because again, to me, it still, even at the end of it, you still couldn't make a case that Leigh Wood was significantly better than Michael Conlan, because from the cards, I had Michael Conlan safely ahead. I just thought that Conlan he got hit, he got clipped, got caught, it happens. And then from that point, Wood wasn't going to be denied. Just like CM Punk Kambosos against Teofimo, sometimes the guy's just like, I'm not going to be denied, I'm coming and I'm going to just do it and make a name. And I don't think that either guy was worse off. Obviously, physically, yes. This fight took years off both guys' careers easily. But I think the level of the level of promotion and the ability to promote these guys went up for both. I don't think that Conlan in lost any steam. If anything, he probably gained awareness. And I expect big fights for him in the future if he wants to continue. It sounds like he's good. After the knockout, he gave an interview in the hospital, saying he's good to go. People were kind of concerned because he went out of the ring, and we've seen fighters that when they fall out of the ring, what happens is they fall backwards, they may hit their head, and it's a table that's right there ringside. And then there's been a couple fighters that actually went down to the floor, and that's just concrete. So there was some concern he might be physically hurt, like if he had banged his head or something, but it sounds like he was fine. Hopefully he got like concussion checks and that kind of stuff, because he's a young guy. So we wouldn't want to see him, end his career like that. But it sounds like from the interviews, he's good to go, and he'll be hopefully back after he recovers. And then really kudos for Leigh Wood for being able to turn the fight, because again, I had Conlan ahead. Being able to turn the fight at the last minute and just go after it in like a Rocky type fashion. That last sequence was exciting. You can't ask for anything better. It was a very similar final sequence to Fury Wilder 3, actually, in just one guy is not going to be denied. He's going to get this guy out of here, hook or crook. So once again, I called this one pretty, because I was pretty confident that that's how it was going to go. And I was not disappointed, and I don't think you should be disappointed. If you missed it, I recommend you go back and watch it, because I think it'll, at least to some degree, we cause a lot of damage to the sport of boxing. This is one of those I think will restore some of your faith in the sport of boxing. Guys like this that are willing to go out there and put their lives really on the line to entertain the fans, because you could tell that they wanted to put on a show, not just for the promoters, not just for the networks, but also for the fans. They wanted to show we're here and we are worth watching. And to me, both guys accomplished what they set out to do in stellar fashion. Hats off to both guys in this fight. Leigh Wood versus Michael Conlan on the Zone. If you did not get a chance to check it out, I do highly recommend it. And again, pay close attention to that ending sequence because I don't think we're going to see very many sequences like that again in the near future.